Today we're in the shop and I'm pretty pumped up because I'm bringing you a really neat sight that we've really enjoyed using, and it's called the CBE Engage Hybrid. It's similar to a lot of rover sights out there, other than the machining. The machining is pretty sweet. It's been designed to be very fluid. You have all your first, second, and third axis adjustments. And in this particular version, there's a 5-pin, but they make a single and a 3-pin and a 5-pin. And there's another version of this as well called the Micro. And what it does is it doesn't have your rover, and it's just a micro adjust 5-pin head, so it's called the Engage Micro. Our most popular one is the hybrid, and I'm going to show you how to set it up today. So the first thing we're looking at on this site is that you have micro adjustable pins. Those are adjusted by this knob here on the top. And then you have this side spot right here. This allows you to adjust each pin individually. However, it takes 4 1/4 turns with an Allen wrench in order to make that adjustment. So you simply take your Allen wrench, put it in there, you take 4 full turns, and then by turning the knob on top, which is located right here, you can adjust the pins up or down. This right here is your rover. It allows you to use that bottom pin as your rover. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to sight in your 20-yard pin. You'll sight in your 20-yard pin, your 30-yard pin, your 40-yard pin, your 50-yard pin, and your 60-yard pin. The instructions on this sight can be slightly confusing, and that's why I want to tell you to focus on sighting those in first. The way that I do it is I take my housing and I want it as high as possible to start off with, which you can adjust with your rover. You can also adjust it on this bar here, which allows you to move it up. The higher it is, the more adjustability you have going down before you hit your arrow. So once you have that done, got our housing about where we want it, I like to move my 20-yard pin, which is this one here, the top pin, as high in the housing as I can. So I'll take 4 1/4 turns out, and I'll turn this knob and it'll allow it to raise and lower. It's pretty neat how this one will stay in position of where it's supposed to be as the other ones sit still. So sight in your 20, your 30, your 40, your 50, and your 60. Then comes the fun part. You'll sight in your 60, you'll go ahead and walk back up and start walking back with it. You'll make a mark where it is. You'll sight it in at 30, and then you'll move this down back to where it was, to where it's at 60. Once you have that spacing marked, you take that mark and you compare it to the side-in tape, which is inside your packaging, and it'll say 30 and 60, and once you have that gap, there's a number there and it tells you which one to take. Your next step is to take these 2 screws off, located here and here, and install the side tape that matches. So what I'm bringing you on now is just how we sight in this sight. As we discussed in the previous parts, I told you to sight in your 20 through 60 first, which I have done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot my 60-yard pin at 30. So what I did is I walked from 60 in and slowly moved it until I knew I was going to be pretty close at 30. So I'm going to sight my 60 in at 30. I'm not using the individual pin, I used my rover on this side, which we discussed earlier. That arrow hit low. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to lower that down a little bit so that, get it there. Now I moved it and adjusted it, and again, this is the 60-yard pin at 30, which is already sighted in. Now our pins are sighted in. I want to show you. We marked, just like we did earlier, we put the 2 marks. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the red side in metal sight tape. We're going to take the number where those two lines mark up. You'll see a closer view of that in a second. And that allows us to then get our metal sight tape put on. Simply remove the two screws, we'll install it, and we'll recheck for 0.